Hello everyone! Today I am here to share my most anticipated book releases of 2023. As always, there are a lot of them, so I will not begin to scratch the surface of every book that I want to check out next year by any means, but here's just a list of some that I am really anticipating. If you don't know, I do several of these videos every single year. I always start off at the beginning of the year about all of the books I'm really excited for, and then I kind of break it up seasonally. So in March, I'll do like a spring releases where I really will focus on like March, April, and May, and then in June, I'll do releases that are coming out that summer, and then fall, etc., etc. You get it. So that's where I can really break it down, because sometimes I just don't hear about a book till later on in the year. Sometimes books don't even get announced, or they just pop up suddenly till more into the year as well. So there's always some that I miss, always. So these are just some of the ones that I am most anticipating, and I'm not gonna lie to you, most of them are romance or thrillers. So if those two are your genres, this is a great anticipated video to watch. If not, I'm sorry, I don't think I have a single YA book on this list, nor of like sci-fi and other stuff, because I'm just learned that romance and thrillers are like the main genres that I stick to, so that's what's mostly on this list. Let me stop talking and let's get into it, because there's a lot on the list. First up in January, I have House in the Pines by Anna Reyes, coming out January 3rd. This one is about a character named Maya who was a senior when her best friend Aubrey mysteriously dropped dead in front of this really enigmatic man named Frank, who they've been hanging around with all summer. Sounds sketch. And then 7 years later, Maya is trying to move on. Then she discovers a recent YouTube video which a young woman suddenly keels over in a diner while sitting across from none other than that guy Frank, who her friend died in front of 7 years ago. So she's like, what the, and so she goes back to her hometown to figure it out. And so basically she has to, it says it's the utterly unique and surprising thriller about the subtlety of memory and manipulation, confronting the past and returning home, and the powerful and lasting bonds of family and friendships. Will this have cult vibes? I don't know, but it sounds interesting. Moving on to our first romance of the year, we have X's and O's by Amy Lee, coming out January 10th, and this makes me think of the Elle King songs. X's and O's. So that's fun. So this one's all about a character named Tara, who is a romance book connoisseur, my girl, and she's been in a lot of relationships and none of them have been the one, and she's desperately trying to find the one. So she decides to, hey, I'm gonna go back and learn some things about my exes, like figure out why it didn't work out, what's going on. It's something about I need to work on, they need to work on, etc. And so she enlists her Boston firefighter roommate named Trevor to help her out during this. And it says, the more time they spend together, the more Tara realizes that Trevor seems to be the only one who appreciates her authentic, dramatic self. I'm not saying we can guess what's gonna happen, but I'm saying we can guess what's gonna happen. But the cover's so cute. We have Just the Nicest Couple by Mary Kubica, also coming out January 10th. I've read a few Mary Kubica books before, and I enjoy them. She writes a lot of domestic thrillers, and this one says, disappearance links two couples in this twisty thriller. That's all I know. That's all I'm gonna know, because thrillers, it's best to go into not knowing much. But with Mary Kubica, she writes a lot of domestic thrillers, so if those are your jams, check her out. Speaking of thrillers, we have What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall, coming out January 17th. She has previously written some YA thrillers. I've read a couple of them. I like them. I don't love them. So this is her first dip into adult thrillers, so I am intrigued about that. This one is about a character named Naomi who used to believe in magic. 22 years ago, she and her best friends spent the summer roaming the woods, and they imagining a world of ceremony and wonder. They called it the Goddess Game. The summer ended suddenly when Naomi was attacked. Miraculously, she survived 17 stab wounds and to live to identify the man who hurt her. And so basically they put away a serial killer, which is great. They were heroes, and it says, and they were also liars. For decades, the friends have kept a secret worth killing for, but now Olivia wants to tell, and Naomi sets to find out what really happened in the woods. So, I don't know, this kind of reminds me of this news story that happened a long time ago when Slender Man was big. If you know, you know. So I don't know if it's gonna be like that. I'm not 100% sure. If it is, I don't know. But it sounds intriguing. and also scary. Next up, we have a horror that was supposed to come out this year, I believe, but it didn't, and that is How to Buy a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. I have read a lot of Grady Hendrix books, and I really enjoy them. He writes horror with a lot of humor into them, and also a lot of really vividly gross stuff, like My Best Friend's Exorcism, like, ugh, but they're fun. And they're scary, but they're fun. I don't know. But this one comes out January 17th, and this is about a character named Louise who finds out her parents died. She dreads going home and goes to Charleston, which is like where a lot of all of Grady Hendrix books takes place. And so she goes home to deal with her family home. She doesn't want to learn to live without the two people who knew and loved her the best in the world. Most of all, she doesn't want to deal with her brother Mark, who never left their hometown. But some houses don't want to be sold, and their home has other plans for them both. So I'm guessing that the home is haunted, and the house is like, you think you're going to sell me? No, no, no. This will be interesting. I like Grady Hendrix books, so I'm excited for it. Then we have Do I Know You by Emily Wibberley and Osman Sigma Broca. This is their second adult book. They write a lot of young adult contemporary books, which I have enjoyed, but last year, or this year, I shall say, they made their debut with The Roughest Draft, which I really enjoyed. It's very controversial of if you like it or not. I liked it. It was full of so much angst, but this one is basically about a married couple that is very drifting away. Like they're going to celebrate their anniversary, go, and then basically a well-meaning guest mistakes them for singles. So they join in this single kind of retreat and they have a lot of fun with it. They decide, hey, let's pretend like we don't know each other. And so they feel like they're learning each other about the first time, like they've never been married or haven't known each other and things like that. They find themselves flirting like it's their first date and waiting for the butterflies in their stomach for others to text back. Everyone at their retreat can sense their chemistry between them, but when their game of role-playing ends, will they still feel the heat? So I'm very, very intrigued by this. It's like a second chance romance. It sounds really awesome, and I really enjoyed their previous like adult romance book. Last book I have in February is the third book in the Finlay Donovan series. This one's called Finlay Donovan Jumps the Gun. This one comes out January 31st. Like I said, it's a third book. It's a mystery thriller satire kind of series, basically about a woman that's an author, like a thriller writer, and she pitches her idea to her agent at Panera. And, you know, she's talking about killing and hitmans and da-da-da-da. And somebody overhears her and she thinks, oh, hey, this woman could take out my husband. And she's like, leaves her money and stuff. And she's like, get it done. And so Finlay's like, you know what? Maybe I'll consider it because I'm a single mama too. So times are rough. It's just a fun series. I didn't love the second one nearly as much, but it's a fun series, like I said. Moving into February, we have a new Tessa Bailey book called Secretly Yours coming out on February 7th. This one is about a characters Hallie and Julian, who Hallie falls really hard for Julian at 14, and they almost kiss in his family's vineyard, and then he goes away. She is there still, like she's back years later as like the gardener because she loves gardening and things like that. And he's a grumpy professor now, and he's on sabbatical from his Ivy League job. He plans to write a novel at home, but you know, he runs into Hallie again, who's the gardener, and you know, things heat up. I was gonna try to have some garden euphemism, but I didn't know what to say. But either way, I love Tessa Bailey books. They're steamy, they're fun, they're easy to read. February 14th, we have Take the Lead by Alexis Dario. I've read 2 of her books before and enjoyed them. This one is like a dancing competition book, which sounds really fun. This one's about a character named Gina who wants to make it big, and she's been in 4 seasons of Dance Off, which I'm guessing is like, so you can think you didn't dance, or dancing, you know, one of those dance shows. And then her latest partner, the sexy star of Alaska Wilderness Show. Is this Bear Grylls? It's not, but I mean, it might as well be, right? So basically, I think as Stone and Gina heat up the dance floor, tabloids catch on to their developing romance. With the spotlight threatening to ruin everything, will they choose fame, fortune, or let the love take the lead? So this is pretty much like Dancing with the Stars, where she's one of the cast members of like, you know, the professional dancers, and they're paired up with like a celebrity. So it's like, I don't know what dancer this could be inspired by, but the guy's clearly inspired by Bear Grylls, right? Am I right? We have also on February 14th, because Valentine's Day, why not? Ruby Spencer's Whiskey Year by Rochelle Blow. This is when a 30-something American food writer moves to a Scottish village for 1 year to fulfill her dream of writing a cookbook. She finds more than inspiration. She meets a handsome Scotman she can't resist. I mean, 'tis the dream. 'Tis the dream. On February 21st, we have a thriller called The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. This one is about a character named Alex who really wants to be a published author, and then she gets a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, attend an exclusive month-long writing retreat at the estate of feminist horror writer, this famous author. And then they arrive. The author Rosa, who's holding this whole retreat, drops the bombshell. They must all complete an entire novel from scratch during the next month. The author of the best one will receive a life-changing 7-figure publishing deal. Like, damn, that's a really big deal. And so she wants to win, because who wouldn't? When cruel mind games and the alleged haunting of the mansion itself. When one of the riders vanishes during a snowstorm, Alex realizes there's something very sinister is afoot. Like, this sounds really... I've never heard this author before. This could be a debut, but I am very intrigued by it. Definitely one of my top thrillers that I really want to check out. Next up, we have The Angel Maker by Alex North, coming out on February 23rd. This one is about a character named Katie who has lived a charmed life. She has big dreams, a devoted boyfriend, and a little brother she protected fiercely, until one day a violent stranger changed the fate of her family forever. Years later, she's not able to hold down the guilt of what happened to her brother Chris, and now she has a child of her own to protect. And then she gets the phone call that Chris, her brother, has gone missing and needs his big sister once again. And so then we follow a detective as well. So this one might be hard to read. I don't do well with like child things happening because I have 2 kids, we all know. But I do like Alex North. I read 2 of his books before and have enjoyed them. Moving into March, we have Off the Map by Tris Stoller, coming out on March 7th. This one is about a character named Carla who has been traveling the world in her vintage Jeep Wrangler. And then she meets Iman, who is a modern day cartographer who creates his own digital maps. And then fate throws them together when Carla arrives in Dublin for her best friend's wedding, and he's tasked with picking her up from the airport. But what should be a simple drive across Ireland quickly becomes complicated with detours, unexpected feelings, and a chance at love. We have What Have We Done by Alex Finlay, coming out March 7th. This is an author, I've read 3 of his books now, I think. Maybe. I think so. They're okay. I don't love them. But this one is about 3 characters. Jenna, Donnie, and Nico were the best of friends. And then 25 years ago, they survived like a lot of abuse together, I believe. They, as residents of the Savior House, a group for parentless teens. And then the house was shut down. And through the trauma, blah, 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 blah. And then each of them went to kind of go on their separate lives. Then they're reunited by a haunting reason. Someone is trying to kill them. To survive, the group will have to revisit the nightmares of their childhood. So this one's going to have a lot of trauma in it, a lot of, scary things that are very, very real and too real for this world, honestly. Then we have The Love Wager by Lynn Painter, coming out March 14th. I believe this is her first adult romance debut. Don't quote me on that, but it's a character named Hallie who's turning over a new leaf. She decides she wants to be a full-on new adult. So she gets a new apartment, a new haircut, and then she sees none other than Jack, whose room of the guy she snuck out of, I think, after this is like, when she wakes up in his hotel room, she's like, this is rock bottom and I've got to be an adult. And then they agree that they're not interested in each other at all. They realize they're each other's perfect winged person in their searches for the one. And so you can clearly guess it's definitely got the vibes of Josh and Hazel from Christina Lauren. So I'm intrigued. We'll have to see. Then we have Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers by Jesse Q. Santano, who also wrote Dial A for Aunties, which is a very fun mystery thriller with a lot of satire in it. So I'm guessing this is probably going to follow in the same vein of it. It's about a character named Vera Wong, who's a lonely old lady who lives above her forgotten tea shop, and then she finds a dead man in the middle of her tea shop. And things happen. So it's kind of like a cozy mystery, if you will. I really loved Dial A for Auntie, so I'm excited for this one. We have The Only Game in Town by Lacey Walton, coming out on the 21st. And this one is Nothing Ever Changes in Redford, Georgia. And it's about an editor named Jess who loves that about her hometown. And then she gets an opportunity of a lifetime. Carter, who's been too busy working long hours for her financial advisor. Basically, I think the town's benefactor dies. And then his funeral is revealed that he's left his entire fortune to the people of Redford, but they'll have to compete for it. Jasper has designed a massive high-stakes game consisting of several team challenges, with the winning duo taking home the prize. So it's about the two characters, Carter and Jess, I think, team up. It sounds fun. It's got like a game element. It's got it's got a game element, a small town element. I'm interested in it. And then we have April. Happy Place by Emily Henry comes out April 25th. The new romance. I love all of Emily Henry's romance. This one's about Harriet and Wynne, who have been the perfect couple, except now they've been the perfect couple, but now they broke up and they still haven't told their best friends. And basically they have to share this bedroom at this cottage because their best friends still think they're together. So they have to, obviously I'm thinking they have to act like they're in love for 1 week because they don't want to tell their best friends they broke up. But I'm guessing it's going to be a second chance romance. We can all see the plot coming from a mile away. Then we have a new Abby Hemezin book. We have Yours Truly coming out on April 11th. This one's about ER Dr. Brianna, who I believe is the character that was in the last book she wrote. And she's had it up to men. She's finalized divorce from her cheating husband. She gets the sweetest letter from Dr. Jacob, and they start writing back and forth. And it turns out that this doctor is a match for her brother, who desperately needs a kidney transplant. So it's going to be interesting. It says they're not dating for real, of course, but when Jacob's family doesn't know that and they get the wrong impression, there's nothing to do but go along with the charade. So clearly a fake dating book. Last Word by Taylor Adams coming out April 25th. I've read one book by him. I've read The Hairpin Bridge. I liked it. DNF, no exit. I just couldn't get into it. So we'll have to see about this one. This one's about Emma, who lives in isolation. And then she reads and then one day she reads this poorly written but gruesome horror novel by the author H.G. Cain and posts a 1-star review that drags her into an argument with none other than the author himself. That's the dangers with writing really bad reviews. Soon after, disturbing incidents start to occur at night. Emma, this can't be just a coincidence. It's strange enough for this author to bicker with her online, but could he be stalking her too? Like, so scary. Next up in May, we have The Daydreamers by Laura Hawken coming out on May 2nd. This is about this band called The Daydreams who had, I think they were like a boy band or like just a teenage kind of band, and then basically they were really big in 2004 and then they split up for various reasons, but now the fans are demanding a reunion special, and the stars have all private reasons to come back, but as they discover the magic of the original show, old spirits threaten to resurface. So I've read a few books where it's about, like, Daisy Jones and the Six. There was another one called, oh, I forget it, but I enjoyed it. I'll have to leave it right here, but this one sounds really interesting. I don't know why. I love reading about like fictional like celebrities and things like that. It just is always really intriguing to me, so this one sounds fun. Then we have the new book from Carly Fortune coming out May 2nd. This is Meet Me at the Lake, and this is about a character named Fern, and basically she is going back to the lake, I believe, and it's a second chance romance. I don't know I'm butchering all of these because honestly, like, there's certain authors I'll just read from and they just sound intriguing to me. This one, I'm guessing, is back in the small lakeside town she wrote about, and I'm hoping it'll be good. Then we have a new Christina Lauren book coming out, The True Love Experiment, on May 16th. And this is about a character named Fizzy, and she is a beloved romance author, and she's got a lot of bestsellers under her list. And then it's about Connor, who's a documentary filmmaker who he creates this reality show. I think it's The True Love Experiment Begins, and the author has something to do with it. Mother should be the star of it. I'm not too sure about it. I don't know. I'm horrible. And we have the new Allie Hazelwood book coming out on June 13th called Love Theoretically. And this one is enemies to lover, about Elsie, who is a physicist and she navigates her career and the big Jack Smith roadblock in her path to her dream job of MIT. So enemies to lovers with a scientific setting that makes me feel oh so stupid. Editing Heather here. So of course I forgot books because that's what I do. First up for July, I have The Only One Left by Riley Sager. He writes a lot of mystery thrillers. And for all I know about this one, it says that it's a gothic thriller about a young caregiver assisted to work for a woman accused of a Lizzie Borden-like massacre. I read all of Riley Sager's books. His last one I really didn't like, so we'll have to see with this one. The cover, superb. We also have another June 20th release. Sorry, I said July, but it's For Business or Pleasure by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This one, all I know, it's about a ghostwriter, and she gets to ghostwrite a memoir for this really famous actor, a C-list actor, actually, who's known for playing a werewolf, and they have a one-night stand together, and it wasn't that great. So they decide when she's not writing his memoir, they will do things behind closed doors, if you get what I'm saying. I really enjoy her romance book, so I'm excited to read this one, and so mad I forgot about it. Moving into July, I have to be very quick here. Hello Stranger by Catherine Setter comes out July 11th. This is about a character named Sadie, and I think she's trying to save her career, and things happen, and she gets involved with a veterinarian dog called Dr. Addison. I'm not 100% sure. Please forgive me. Also, we have a new Samantha Downing book, A Twisted Love Story, coming out July 18th, and says Wes and Ivy are madly in love. It's the kind of romance story people write. It's the kind of romance that people write stories about. But what kind of story, it says, because when it's good, it's great. But when it's bad, it's really bad. Vengeful fights, damaged property, arrest warrants. It says that because one more breakup might just be their last. So, I don't know. Sounds really intense, and I really enjoy Samantha Downing's books. And the last book I have on this list comes out on July 20th. It's Everyone is Lying by Sherry LaPena. She writes a lot of domestic thrillers as well. It's about a character named William, who is a family man who, on the surface, he's a family man, but he's been having an affair that ended horribly at a hotel, and he returns to his house to find his difficult 9-year-old daughter home from school. He loses his temper. Hours later, Ella's family declares her missing. Oh my gosh, does he... I don't even know what's going to happen, but it sounds intriguing, so I don't know. So, as you can clearly see, this list ends in July because that's the most research I could do. I have not even really touched the second half of the year, so this is just a very kind of overview of the first half of the year. But either way, there's a lot of books coming out next year that I'm very, very excited about. I'm sure I've missed some. If you know of some books that I for sure will like, please leave them in the comments. It will help me out drastically. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Sorry if I glazed over some of these because I'm running out of time. I have to go pick up my son from school, so I don't have a lot of time. But either way, I hope you got some books out of it that maybe will intrigue you that are coming out next year. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.